Okay, today we start our examination of the presidency, which is the second of our institutions of government in Unit 4. And to begin our overview, I want to start with the founders' intentions, what they were looking to do with this office. And there was a lot of debate going into the Constitutional Convention about what this office should look like. Some wanted to have multiple leaders holding the title of executive. Some wanted an executive council to be able to veto presidential actions, to rein in his power. Some wanted a president with a life term. That was championed by Alexander Hamilton, who, as we've seen throughout the course, has been very strong advocate for centralized authority. And then what eventually happened was we had a compromise, which was a single elected president with a fixed term of office. This gets back to the whole premise of the Constitution being a bundle of compromises, and we see that compromise all throughout. Now, why there were some fears, there were some concerns that this office would become excessively strong, that the presidency could almost tend towards monarchy if not controlled. You have to remember, at the time of the Constitution, its drafting, there were no term limits on the president. It wasn't until we got the 22nd Amendment in 1951 that we limited a president to 2 terms. So there was real concern about the power potential. On the flip side, there was concern that this office might become too weak and that they would be a mere puppet of the Congress and especially the Senate. Because remember, the Senate controls the appointment process. They control the confirmation of all presidential appointees. So they had a real power play over the president. So the founders really had to come up with a balance of how to do this. And then the other issue that happened was how to elect this president. Some, again, wanted Congress to elect the president, wanted to go with a appointment process in that regard, but again, that would play right into the fears of Congress being too powerful. Others wanted a direct election. They wanted to have a popular vote all throughout the states. Now, some problems with this. It favored the large states, and we know that there was an issue between large and small states dating right to the Virginia plan versus the New Jersey plan, so there was that tension already built in. We also had a fear of a direct election could lead to demagogues who could control the masses with easily swayed opinions. There was problems with illiteracy, which was very prominent during the founding era, and then communication was poor. So a direct election was not really a option. So what they did is they compromised once again, and the compromise comes in with the Electoral College. This gives the people some input. Their votes kind of push the electoral votes. Large states and small states have influence and balance. And then under the founders' intentions, what was supposed to happen a lot of the times is they believed that the Electoral College wouldn't settle the matter, and then it would be forwarded on to the House of Representatives, where the states would each have 1 vote. So there was a lot of movement there to try to really spread out the balance of power between the small states and the large states. So now our process, we start with the presidential primaries. We run starting in Iowa and New Hampshire. We go all through the primary season to select the 2 nominees who are confirmed at the party conventions in the summer before the election. We have a fall debate, and then we move on to the general election. Now, one last part in this overview of the presidency that I want to touch on before we get into part 2 is just an overview of the president. So you need to be a natural-born citizen, so born on American soil. You need to be 35 years of age, and you need to be a resident of the United States for at least 14 years. You have a 4-year term. The maximum you can be elected to is 2 4-year terms. And the succession starts with the vice president. So the vice president becomes president if the president is incapacitated or assassinated. And after that, we go to the Speaker of the House, then the President pro tem, and then into the cabinet positions in order of their creation, starting with the Secretary of State. We'll pick up with the growth in presidential power a little bit later.